Good afternoon. It is a sunny but very cold day, and as you can see, I am back in Canada. You can see that not only by the winter scenes behind me, but also by how I am dressed. I have plenty of layers underneath my coat. I have a nice hat. I have my winter gloves. And there's actually a couple of people, I don't know if you can see them, but a couple of people with hockey sticks just entered onto that skating rink behind me, just to prove once and for all that we are here in the beautiful country of Canada. And it's Canada that I want to talk about today. I want to briefly talk about how I feel about this country. After spending a couple of months away from Canada, I'm here to talk about some of the strengths of Canada, because it is a time when our country has been bullied by our neighbor to the south, and sometimes made to feel weak. We don't have the same military as the United States. We don't have the same population as the United States. We don't get as much attention internationally as the United States. But I still think we're a very strong country, and I'm going to share 3 reasons why. The first reason has to do with what I just started this video talking about. That is our ability to withstand weather. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of places around the world that have 4 seasons. A lot of places that have colder winters. For example, in Europe, there are places where winter gets chilly. You know, people sit outside the cafe and they put on an extra sweater and they shiver as they drink their tea and they tell their friends, "Oh, I wish winter wasn't so cold." But here in Canada, we don't sit outside the cafe. We will freeze to death. Our fingers will freeze off if we try to eat outside. You know, we don't just have winter that is uncomfortable. We have winter that, if you're not dressed properly, is frankly dangerous. Could be deadly. I mean, right now it's minus 20 with the wind chill, and that's a temperature that a lot of people around the world might go their entire life and never feel. Or they will feel it one time when they're on a trip somewhere cold, or they're going skiing and it's a particularly cold week. But in Canada, this is just another Tuesday, my friends. A lot of places have stretches of weeks at a time that are like this. And I think this has been a particularly cold winter for much of Canada. As you probably know, I've been traveling for the past couple months, so I missed a lot of it. But other Canadians might do this too. Whenever I'm traveling somewhere warmer, I always still check the temperature of the place at home. So I was always checking Montreal's temperature. I think it is part of our DNA as Canadians to be resilient, to be tough, to be strong when it comes to the environment that we live in. The second reason I think Canadians are particularly strong has to do with our kindness. And this one might sound strange at first, because we live in a world that sometimes perceives kindness as weakness. And you see this between countries, but you also see this between friends or relationships. You know, if you're too kind all the time, people might think, "Oh, that person's weak. They're a pushover. They will do whatever we want." Maybe that's how someone like Donald Trump perceives Canada. But I don't think that that is true. I think, in fact, I'll give you an example here, because I was just traveling in 5 different countries, actually. I went to Greece, Turkey, Egypt, China, and the United Arab Emirates. So it was a big trip I took. And I'll have some more videos from that coming soon on this channel, but if you're new here, be sure to check out the New Travel, which is my main channel. I'll put a link down below. I just published a video in Turkey, which I'm very proud of. But anyway, back to the subject of today. You know, going to all these different countries has shown me that Canadians are pretty well-mannered people. And, you know, I'm not trying to pick on the Greeks or the Turks or the Egyptians or the Chinese or anyone. But just, I went to a variety of different cultures around the world, and Canadians are just nice. Like, all the cliches are true. We for the most part, you know, still smile and say hello to neighbors. We give seats to the old woman on the bus if she needs a seat. This is just normal stuff, and a lot of places don't do this. I gave my seat. Well, I didn't even give my seat. I was in Athens, and when I got on the train, it was like relatively empty. So I was traveling, so I had my big like backpack on the seat next to me. And then when the train started to fill up and a woman was looking for a seat, I moved my bag. And she was like, in Greek, she was saying like, "Oh, bless you, bless you." Like, she was so touched that I moved my bag, because I guess a lot of people just don't move their bags. But for me, it's like, of course I'm going to move my bag. That's just being a normal human being. At least where I grew up. But a lot of places just don't have that level of, like, I don't know. I was going to say common decency. I don't know if that's unfair to say that they're not being decent. It's just, a lot of places don't have this culture of politeness. And I would say looking out for your neighbor. A lot of places around the world are just more cynical and pessimistic and distrustful of strangers, I would say. They don't smile when they see strangers. There's this kind of distrustful scowl that a lot of places have. And then if you make friends, you can still be friendly. But Canadians tend to be pretty friendly as a default. And I don't think that's a weakness. I think that that's a courage. I think what's weak and easy is to actually be distrustful. That gives into your basic primal, you know, your instincts, your kind of caveman, cavewoman DNA is just, different people than me. Oh, I don't trust them. To actually be kind takes courage, takes trust, takes a level of getting out of yourself and believing in others. And again, I'm not trying to paint Canada as like some utopia, but if you, because every country has some problems, but if you focus too much on Canada's problems, you might think we're this failed country that's full of racist and hateful people and stuff like that. And then you travel and you realize, oh, we're actually doing great. Like, we're doing great. And this brings me to my last point, the strength of Canada. And, you know, I'm sure everyone has heard some variation of this before. People love to say diversity is our strength and stuff like that. But what does that actually mean? Well, for me, the fact that we have people from all around the world living here in relative peace and harmony, bringing their foods, bringing their cultures, bringing their ideas to one place, is something to be proud of, actually. And I was recently interviewed by a student in Turkey. I was in this town called Konya, which doesn't get a lot of tourists. And I think that their assignment was just to find an English speaker and interview them. So I was that English-speaking foreigner who they found. And this is one of the questions they asked me.
Can you give us some information about your country?
Well, my country is a place with people from all around the world. Canada is a new country, and we have many immigrants, many people, Turkish people, Chinese people, Brazilian people, you know, living in one country. And to me, that makes it a special place. And I believe that. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes we forget these things. We have to be reminded them. Well, traveling reminded me that living in a multicultural place with all these amazing restaurants and different interesting people to learn from, different perspectives to consider, is cool. And a lot of the world doesn't have that. Not to the level Canada has, at least. Like, I don't know, if you're in somewhere like China and you're gonna have a Mexican restaurant, it's going to be like Chinese people making tacos, and they're going to be awful because they don't know how to make tacos. If you're in Canada and you go to a Mexican restaurant, chances are those are newly arrived Mexican immigrants who are bringing you like these delicious recipes that their grandma passed down to them. So it's the real deal. At least it's a lot closer to the real deal than the tacos you find in China. Or actually, I mean, even when I was in Greece, I tried to get a pizza, and I was thinking, okay, Greece is close to Italy, like it's just across the water. The pizza here is probably going to be really good. It wasn't good. I'm sorry, Greece. It wasn't a good pizza. I have way better pizzas here in Canada, made by Canadian Italian immigrants here in the beautiful city of Montreal. So I guess what I'm saying is, we sometimes forget things like this. We sometimes forget that our multicultural society, the kindness and civility that we still have. And I'll say one more thing about that one, by the way. You know, not to get too political here, but I think Mark Carney standing up to Trump is a classic example of something Canadians can be proud of, which is, you know, whether you voted for the guy or not, that doesn't matter. But in this case, Trump was being like a spoiled little toddler, you know, bullying Canada, bullying all the other countries, screaming and ranting about whatever. And Mark Carney was polite but firm and standing up for Canadian values. You know, he was the adult in the room. And I think represented a lot about what's good about Canadians. The fact that you can be polite and tough. And those aren't opposites. Those can be together. They can be strong together. I think a lot of the world is actually looking up to Canada right now and seeing us as one of the major forces of resistance against the United States. And you can watch my last video if you want to learn more about that topic. My last video, which was in the much warmer place of Turkey. Which brings me to my last point. I'll just say it once more. Our ability to withstand this weather. Even though I'm, you know, my skin has got a bit thinner. I'm all bundled up, you know, because I just spent 2 months out of Canada. But I've decided I'm not going to just stay indoors for the next couple months. I'm going to make the most of our seasons. It's like those people playing hockey on that skating rink behind me. You know, you find ways to enjoy it. And frankly, it is a beautiful country we have. It's easy to forget it when you're living in it. It's easy to focus on the cold and to feel kind of depressed this time of year, but if you haven't done this recently, take a walk outside on a nice sunny day. Doesn't matter how cold it is, you'll find something to enjoy. So that's all I have for you today, YouTube. Let me know if you resonate with what I said today. If you have anything more to add, leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And I will catch you next time from the beautiful city of Montreal. Peace.